Have you heard of narcissistic mortification? A lot of people want their narcissist to experience a narcissistic collapse after the breakup because they feel a level of injustice, they feel very angry about what happened. But the ultimate revenge that you can have in your life is to not even care what happens to the narcissist because they're so irrelevant that it just doesn't matter anymore. The steps to get to a narcissistic collapse are first, a narcissistic injury, which leads to narcissistic mortification and ultimately will lead to a narcissistic collapse. A narcissistic injury can be the trigger, and that is anything and everything. If you say the wrong thing, if you wear the wrong thing, if you humiliate them, if you don't say something they wanted you to say, these can all cause a narcissistic injury. If you call them out on a lie, if you set a boundary, if you tell them no, this can cause a narcissistic injury. If that injury is severe enough, it will cause narcissistic mortification, which is essentially like a death of their overinflated ego. It is a very deep psychological wound to them, and it can happen for a number of different reasons. If they are publicly exposed, if their fear of abandonment gets triggered because their partner leaves them before they're ready to discard them, if this false image and mask crumbles and everything's starting to go wrong for them and people are turning on them, they will start to feel destroyed emotionally. They can go into a narcissistic rage. They can start smear campaigns to try to get their reputation back on track. They will become more dramatic than ever. They will victimize themselves more than before. And they could suddenly drop off social media or ghost the people around them. Or there could be vengeful, spiteful, punishing behaviors. Now, the aftermath when all of their defenses fail is a narcissistic collapse. That is the third and final step in this process. A collapse happens when they can no longer maintain their false self. Their coping mechanisms break down and they experience a deep and spiraling depression, the likes of which you and I could never imagine because we have a core identity and they don't. If they are abandoned by key people, if they are losing all of their supply, if their reputation is damaged beyond repair, these can all lead to a narcissistic collapse. It's basically a pity party for themselves. They're not going to have any level of self-awareness, like maybe I should treat people nicer. They're just going to feel really, really bad for themselves. Sometimes you can see outwardly that a narcissistic collapse is happening. For example, they might have sudden changes in their appearance. They dye their hair a different color. They lose a lot of weight or gain a lot of weight. They are completely off of social media when they're usually addicted to it. They are moving to the next town over. Ultimately, the narcissist will rise like a phoenix from the ashes from this narcissistic collapse and shapeshift their identity to capture new supply, new flying monkeys, and continue their manipulative behavior with new people who are naive to what they're doing.